Cooler showcases his new black form, leading to a hectic battle between him, Kakarot, and Raditz. The two nearly died against Cooler, completely overpowered by his new form. However, Kakarot was also able to access his new form for himself. Purely on accident, actually. And now with the power of a Supreme Saiyan, he feels maybe he could finally take on Turles, getting rid of him once and for all, the last loose end he needs to get rid of. But little does he know, Turles has his own plans at the moment. We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 10 of What If Goku Was Evil, as we head into the Star Eater Turles arc. Kakarot and Raditz continue going around to other planets. There's not too many planets left in this area, but there are a few that allow Kakarot to plant some trees, getting some fruits of the Tree of Might for Raditz. And at long last, Raditz is able to access the evil Saiyan form. Or, seemingly he can. His aura changes, but he looks pretty much the same. Maybe his hair grows a little bit longer, but he doesn't really look too much different. Kakarot dies of laughter from this, and Raditz is a bit embarrassed, but he could tell the power's there, so whatever. He doesn't matter what he looks like. Actually, this is better. He was handsome to begin with. But it doesn't matter how he looks. What matters is the power behind it. And now they feel confident to go and find Turles. Although, Raditz does want to get that Supreme Saiyan form, but he knows it's going to take a while. If it took that long for Kakarot to do it, especially with how powerful his evil Saiyan form was to begin with, it's going to take a little bit longer for Raditz, so it's best not to focus on that for now. They outnumber Turles, and most importantly, they should overpower him. There's no way he acts as a Supreme Saiyan too, right? I mean, he doesn't know about Super Saiyan. And, yeah, they're right, but he's got something else. The Neo Crusher Core keeps expanding, not only obtaining more soldiers, but finding more stars to plant trees of might on. The issue is, this process takes a lot longer than it did for planets. I mean, just consider the scale of the stars. It takes a lot longer for the trees to actually drain the energy from them. And another thing is, these aren't any normal trees. Rather than being easy to plant like the other trees of might, these are genetically engineered seeds that are somehow able to survive on stars. And it takes a lot longer for them to be planted, and a lot longer for them to actually grow fully. But the payoff is huge, and Turles is loving it. Also, in the meantime, he could spend that extra free time trying to train with this form, trying to gain more control of it. It's not like he should be overloading himself with these fruits after all. He needs to pace himself a bit until he gets full control in this form, which eventually, he does get some of that. And while the army is expanding, finding more soldiers too, Turles actually finds one who could be particularly valuable. But the army is a secondary focus for him right now. At the moment, he's focused on finding those other two Saiyans. After sensing their battle with Cooler, he definitely needs to do something about it. Thankfully, he has all the resources he needs, and he knows they probably still have some scouters, which might make it easy to locate and communicate with them. It doesn't take too long. With a crew of engineers trying to figure out how to actually contact these other scouters, they're able to track them down eventually, basically hacking into them so they can receive the messages from Turles. Of course, Kakarot and Raditz don't really wear these anymore, but they still do have them on the side. And Raditz notices one day, his old scouter's going off. Who could even be contacting him? That was only used with the Frieza Force. But Kakarot knows exactly who it is. It's gotta be Turles. He did take over the Frieza Force after all. And knowing their resources, it shouldn't have been too hard to track down those scouters. Kakarot actually destroyed his, but Raditz completely forgot about his since he doesn't really wear it too much. But whatever, hindsight is 20/20, and what's important now is to figure out who's actually calling. And just as they expected, Turles is on the other end. He tells them, let's settle this, here and now. He'll do it alone. He's not going to use his army for this, he just used them to track these two down. He didn't even think to track their scouters until he sensed their power. That's what actually tipped him off. And he tells the two of them, they don't really have a choice. He knows where they are, so he's offering them to come here. Either they can head to where he is, or he could just come there and destroy everything. They're going to meet in battle eventually. But Raditz tells Turles, they're not stupid, and Turles says he knows that, which is why he knows they'll take this offer and come there right now. If they're worried about him somehow having other people come here to ambush him, that's not the case. He could do this all on his own. He doesn't need anybody else's help. If he did, honestly, that would be a huge blow to his pride. And if he ends up losing here, then so be it. He wasn't fit to command the universe anyways, but he knows he is, which is why he's so confident in this. And Kakarot attests this too. Even though he doesn't necessarily trust Turles, he does know for a fact that Turles would do this alone. This isn't a trap. This must be a legitimate invitation to a battle. And he does know where they are after all. He would have come here already and destroyed them if that's what he really wanted. This at least makes for a more fair fight, more enjoyable for each side, and whoever wins, they'll feel the pride of legitimately winning a battle. So, the two Saiyans head out, not really knowing what else to do here. They don't have a choice either way. And they arrive on a deserted planet, one with a tree of might on it, but that tree is long dead. And of course, Turles is there alone just like he said. He greets the two, glad to see them, and to finally see Raditz again too. He's surprised Raditz even showed up, considering how he retreated against Turles and Kakarot last time. And Kakarot simply asked, what's Turles' angle here? He sensed their power, right? He knows how strong they are now. And Turles explains what he's been up to as well. They're not the only ones with the new power. And Kakarot asks, what, is he a Super Saiyan or something? Turles laughs at this. The Super Saiyan doesn't exist. To which Raditz responds by showing off Super Saiyan. Oh, well, it does exist, but doesn't seem too interesting in all honesty. Especially compared to Evil Saiyan and his new power. But he tells Kakarot, That power he sensed wasn't just Super Saiyan. He wants to see what form Kakarot's gotten, if it's any similar to his at all. He sensed that evil Saiyan energy within it, and he says there's no point in hiding it from him. So, Kakarot transforms, showing off Supreme Saiyan. Turles says that's impressive, definitely different from the power that he has. You see, he has been planting more trees of might, actually, not on planets anymore. And Kakarot's confused. Where's he been planting them then? Well, let's just say he has a very brilliant army, at least in terms of the scientist, being able to genetically engineer new seeds that are able to survive the condition of stars mechanically being planted on there. Kakarot doesn't believe what he's hearing. So he's been eating the power of stars? Raditz immediately powers up upon hearing this, knowing they can't hold anything back. Right away, they need to go all out. And Turles reiterates what he said before. Just like he thought, they're smart. Well, they showed him their power, so he'll show his off too. A ring of red energy forms around him, slowly coalescing into Turles. First, he goes into his evil Saiyan form, but something begins changing with him. His hair, it flows more violently than before. His tail and his eyes light up, as his hair continues changing. It doesn't just change color like a Super Saiyan or something. It changes its state of being. His hair looks like fire, freely moving just like fire. And then there's a brilliant flash of light, just like that of a star. The planet cracks below their feet. What is he doing? And Turles laughs, telling them not to worry. The planet explodes, with the 3 Saiyans being flung out into space, on random rocks from the planet floating about. Raditz and Kakarot try talking to each other, but they can't. They're in the vacuum of space. And then they hear Turles in their heads. He tells them an interesting tidbit. He found this out on accident, actually. Are they surprised that they're surviving out here? Well, turns out with the power of an evil Saiyan, it seems they can actually survive in the vacuum of space. That's not too surprising. They've evolved far beyond a Saiyan's limits, so it's no wonder that this is possible as well. He discovered this on accident while eating fruits from stars. I mean, he could survive the power of a star and actually survive on the surface of one, which showed him that he could actually survive in the vacuum of space too, being able to breathe out there. Kakarot and Raditz wish they knew that before, and Turles tells them. That's why he was able to ascend beyond them. He's able to recognize all the different pieces of this form, what it allows him to do, the abilities it grants him, which allows him to go beyond its limits. He knows far more than they do, and he's far stronger than they are. He launches towards the 2 of them, with Turles turning into an orange streak of light. They each feel a powerful punch to each of their guts, as they're launched across this solar system. This power. They can't believe it. Raditz is flung into a nearby moon, with the moon exploding on impact as Kakarot tries to stop himself out in the vacuum. This is unlike any other battle he's been in before. He's never fought in the vacuum of space. It's such a wide open area, and it's so easy to lose track of things if you can't sense somebody's power. But it's not easy to lose track of Turles. They can see him glowing brilliantly in the vacuum, with the power of stars flowing through him. Like I said, I want to have a little bit more fun with this what if. New forms, they're completely fair game. Kakarot tries launching back in towards Turles, with Turles effortlessly dodging every attack. Kakarot can't sense it or hear it, but he sees something flying behind him. He jumps out of the way, as all pieces of that exploding moon fly right towards Turles, with Raditz flinging each of them towards him as a distraction. He flies back over to Kakarot, trying to communicate mentally. He doesn't really know how to do so, but he figures it out. Looks like they're gonna have to talk like this from now on. They see a brilliant glow not too far away as Turles completely melts all those pieces from the moon. They hear his voice in their heads again. This is becoming fun. He powers up fully, launching in towards Kakarot, grabbing him, with the 2 of them then hurtling right towards the nearby star. Raditz tries to follow. He's not quick enough. Turles is too fast for it. Kakarot struggles to move, but he picks up a hand, launching a blast point blank at Turles' face as they hurtle right towards the star. With the 2 of them landing on the surface of it, the gravity here is insane. And the heat too. But with these forms, they can handle it. But it does make the battle tougher. Raditz flies in too, feeling the effects more so than them. Damn it. Even with the great powers of an evil Saiyan, he's still behind them. He can't do anything to help. He can still move, but he's a lot slower than before with the gravity. And he watches hopelessly. Turles is beating up Kakarot, and Raditz needs to do something quick. He doesn't know if he can even help here. But then he sees something. He sees why Turles brought Kakarot here. In the distance, he sees what looks like a giant structure, and it becomes clearer to him. Through the flames of the star's surface, he can kind of make out the image of a tree. This is way too crazy for him. He tries to fly over to that. It's massive, even more so than the trees of might that they've seen before. It's insane. There's a huge mechanical structure around it. And the tree looks like no normal tree either, so this is how they're able to get them to work. But he knows what Turles is trying to do. He's here in case he needs another fruit from this. And as Raditz flies over, he's hit by a blast from Turles, launching him right into the tree. But the force of this actually shaking him as Turles flies over, so he sees Raditz has figured out his plan. It's not like he could do anything about it though. And after the tree shakes from this collision, a giant fruit drops from above. Well, relative to the tree, it's pretty small. But compared to the normal fruits that he's seen, it's massive. It's like the size of a watermelon. Turles is about to catch it as it falls, but then Kakarot hits him right in the face, coming back into the battle. Turles fumbles to try and grab it, but he drops the fruit due to Kakarot's distraction. Quickly he launches a blast at it, knocking the fruit far away. He'll get it later. He just can't let Raditz get to it. as he flies back in towards Raditz, but with Kakarot grabbing Turles' leg, trying to pull him back. He tells Turles, focus on this fight, let them settle the score. Turles is infuriated, and he's far above Kakarot, so he tries to get away as quick as possible, and he looks back to see. Raditz is gone. It's tough, but he's flying away, trying to find where that fruit went. He saw where the blast flew, at least the general direction, and he sees a divot left in the star's surface. Everything is so bright around here too. This makes it even tougher to see. Thankfully, from being as powerful as they are, their eyes aren't just completely melted from being on this star. But still, it's not something that they can overlook, and Raditz can vaguely make something out. A dark red object on the surface, being flung around by all the flames. It's the fruit, but he knows if he gets it, he'll show it the location of Turles too. So he flies over to its general direction, but not right towards it, and Turles then launches over, quicker than Raditz can register. He looks around too, but can't find it, and he sweeps his arm at Raditz. In the nick of time, Raditz tries to adjust himself just to the perfect angle. He knows he can't avoid an attack from Turles, but he does know what he can do, use it to his advantage. Turles doesn't know where the fruit is, but Raditz does. He positions himself to take the hit, making it look like he's naturally flying over to where the fruit was thanks to where Turles knocked him. And the attack is painful, but Raditz coordinated this. He's knocked right towards the fruit, and in one swift motion, he reaches out to grab for it, and Turles sees, but it's already too late. Quickly, Raditz takes a giant bite of it, trying to eat it whole, with a massive blast then coming from above as Turles knocks him out of the way, disintegrating the rest of the fruit too. Kakarot flies in too, trying to distract Turles once more, and then sensing a huge increase in Raditz's power. They can barely see it because the star is already flaming, but a huge pillar of fire shoots up nearby, and it's not natural from the star, it's something else, and Kakarot smiles, telling Turles it's over now. Turles is furious, but whatever, he'll finish off Kakarot right now. He doesn't need to enjoy this any longer. It doesn't matter if Raditz has obtained the same power. As long as he can kill Kakarot, he'll overcome Raditz as well. Kakarot tries to launch a point-blank kill driver, with Turles launching the same. His overpowers Kakarot's, but Kakarot tries to push it back as much as he can, and a blast comes in from his side, knocking both the kill drivers out of the way, and he sees standing there is Raditz. He can't control this power, he can't contain it at all, but he's using the same form as Turles. And of course, it's not on his level. He only ate one whole fruit, while Turles has been going around eating parts of many fruits. He paced himself too. Raditz didn't hear. Maybe Raditz will just blow up from not being able to contain all this energy, being destroyed by the very power he's trying to possess. And Raditz is fighting through it, trying to utilize the power, but he doesn't try to resist it. He lets it overflow out of him. It's the only way he can survive it after all, and he has the perfect place to channel it into. He needs to get rid of this power quickly too, before he dies from it. Quickly, he launches a full power Shining Friday at Turles, but it's much stronger than he ever expected. His power is completely unrestrained right now, and Turles blocks against the attack, taking some significant damage from it too. And he sees what Raditz is doing. He's trying to mitigate the effects of it by using all the power at once, letting it overflow out of him. He's not trying to contain it at all. Instead, he's letting the power do what it's trying to do, escape Raditz's body in any way possible. Raditz continues launching these supercharged attacks at Turles, launching it at full speed with nothing in between. He needs to continuously expel this energy if he wants to survive here. And Kakarot watches on nearby. He can't believe it, seeing Raditz this strong, and that form. It's amazing. Raditz has actually surpassed him, and he's actually kind of happy to see that. He looks over at the tree. There's no other fruits on there. That would have been useful for him to get this too. But as he looks over at the tree, he also sees something else nearby. There's a ship floating far out in space. Kakarot can barely make it out, but he does see it. It's floating right over the tree, and he sees a brilliant green glow coming from it. What the hell is that? As Turles is fighting Raditz, he tells Raditz it's no use. That power is going to run out eventually without him controlling it. There's a few outcomes for this battle. 1. Raditz's power runs out, and Turles regains his advantage, since he's actually controlling his power. And that way, Turles wins. Raditz says he'll simply just not let that happen. But Turles says he's forgetting another thing. Turles has a whole army with him, and he has some contingency plans. And Raditz laughs at Turles. What, he's going to try to retreat or something? That's the same thing that he made fun of Raditz for. And Turles says he did have this contingency plan, and he didn't really want to use it, but it's still better to have it just in case. He's not too pleased by this either. It's like he said before, if he loses here, then so be it. It kinda irks him, but at the same time, it's expected that his army would look out for him. He should have killed them quicker, but instead, he was enjoying his time pummeling Kakarot. Had he not wasted any time, he would have prevented Raditz from getting that fruit. He let the battle get into his head. And because of that mistake, he's glad he had this contingency plan. Raditz looks up, then seeing that same green glow that Kakarot's seeing. Kakarot flies over, trying to grab Raditz, telling him they need to go. And Turles looks up laughing. He jumps up out into space too, saying his goodbyes to everyone. He'll see them again very soon. Maybe he shouldn't have done a 2v1. Maybe it should have been a 2v2 to make things more balanced. Kakarot and Raditz have no clue of what he's talking about, but they fly off. What is Turles implying? That he has some sort of ally with him that could have helped here? The green glow hits the star, as it starts rumbling. Kakarot and Raditz try to fly as quickly as possible. They can't even go back to their ship because that got destroyed with the planet. They actually have no clue where they're heading right now. They just fly out into the vacuum of space. Raditz expels all of his power, trying to use it to fly as fast as possible, trying to get Kakarot to let go of him, and instead of grabbing onto Kakarot and dragging him behind. And Kakarot gets a glimpse of the star as it's exploding, and right behind it, he can see Turles flying up to his ship, with the ship narrowly escaping. He's getting too far away right now. He can't make out any individual figures, but he can sense somebody else's power. It's just like they thought. Turles isn't alone. He does have some sort of ally, and his energy. It feels like that of a Saiyan. But that makes no sense. What other Saiyan is out there? And as they fly off into space, they vaguely hear Turles in their head once more. Turles apologizes for being so rude. Next time, he'll be sure to introduce him to his new friend, Broly. The star fully collapses, with each side being able to barely escape. And as Raditz and Kakarot fly out randomly into space, having no clue of where they're going, this is where we'll end off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next time? Leave any thoughts or suggestions in the comments below. And be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.